In this age of climate change awareness, or for some, the lack of awareness, we often hear of climate activists such as Greta Thunberg or David Attenborough speak about society's heavy consumption and reliance on the use of single-use plastics for our own convenience, while neglecting the damaging effects that this can have on our planet. But who is really to blame? Is it the large multinational corporations that make and produce these plastics, or is it the consumer? Some of Ireland's industry leaders involved with the production, consumption and disposal of single-use plastics are now voicing their opinions on solutions and alternatives to help the future of our planet.
You know, the litter agenda is somewhat different from the recycling sustainable agenda in that if you take a recyclable bottle or a non-recyclable one, like if it ends up on the street, it's still litter, you know? So that's a problem. So our focus, I suppose, is on the proper disposal of the goods rather than the materials used. At the same time, definitely the trend towards recycling, towards compostability, that shows a care for the environment, which absolutely spills over to practice of litter. If people engage in good practice in relation to that, well, then it's very unlikely that they will litter. But again, like compostable items can still constitute litter. So it doesn't solve the litter problem per se. It may over time.
Yeah,
but
do you think that consumers are conscious when they're buying something, that like when they're disposing of it after, if it's a sustainable or compostable packaging, that they will dispose of it correctly? Or do you think that it's just like any other single-use plastic item that they just...
I mean, will the compostable item be disposed of
correctly because it's compostable?
I think part of them, absolutely. I think that if they buy into the sustainability of the product, the likelihood of them disposing of it improperly is much reduced. So I think there's that almost an indirect consequence when it comes to litter.
Yeah, so do you think in the future that it'll reduce the amount of waste that we see in our streets and things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I know the case was put forward. Is it SuperValue who have a compostable bag out now or are bringing it out? But plastic bags have been a big blight on the horizon for us, obviously, and it's great that they are still there. The reusable bags still present a problem, but those compostable bags, disposed of improperly, they are still litter because they have to go through that process, be it of composting or recycling, for their sustainability to come to bear, I guess. I don't think you can leave it to businesses to do this on their own. In theory, their customers should dictate what they do, but life isn't always like that.
That was Connor, the head of IBAL, or Irish Businesses Against Litter, discussing the effects that single-use plastics and other forms of litter can have on our society, but also pointing out the role that business has to play in order to help create a greener, cleaner planet. Although IBAL's stance is just one side of the story, Yasin Flynn, the leader of sustainability and strategic purchasing for the Happy Pear, one of Ireland's most well-known vegan and vegetarian food outlets, explains their effort to make the Happy Pear a leader of sustainability across Ireland.
So, sustainability has always been one of the core values of the Happy Pear. However, we have been very much aware of the problems associated to the plastic waste, and also there has been a lot of concerns about the actual recyclability of the plastic, especially after China decided not to take our plastic for recycling and all that. So we were very much aware of it, however, for a number of years, and we have a wide range of products, and it was important for us to find more sustainable solutions, more environmentally friendly packaging as much as possible. However, these options weren't always available. Like even going back 3 years ago, they weren't available, or maybe they weren't here initially. They were, I think, some of them were available in the States, and then also affordability was a big thing. And slowly we got in touch with the right kind of people, and we saw that it is possible. It took us quite some time to make all the trials and bring the changes into the production processes. It was really, I think, came from a place where we had to stand for our value and see what we can do, and also maybe lead a change that was very much needed in the society. plastic. Why it is so common is because it has a lot of benefits in terms of, it's light in comparison to glass, and it is so widely used that there's an efficiency in producing it. And when you use something rare or new, it is basically, you're talking about, when you produce something in smaller quantities, basically you always pay more. When you go out of the usual way. And yes, there is some extra cost to it, but we're trying to incorporate it into our pricing, and we are also hoping that customers would value this. So it has to be somehow reflected in the pricing. And in some cases, it is. I think we are hoping at the same time, the more the use of more environmentally friendly packaging becomes common, the pricing will go down.
Yeah. So, we've heard from two industry leaders about the pros, cons, and effects of sustainable packaging. But what do the people think? I headed to the streets of Dublin to ask some environmentally conscious students if they think the use of sustainable packaging with companies is a positive thing, or whether they just do it to see higher profits.
Have an opinion or a thought on it? Do you think it's good for the environment, or people just do it to make money?
Sustainable packaging, that's like good for the environment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's packaging that when we consume it, it can be reproduced.
Oh yeah, in my college, they have all that. Instead of like cups or stuff, they have like cone things where you, like, if you want to sip water.
Yeah.
No, it's a good idea.
Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but I feel like companies charge too much for it. I feel like at the moment they're just charging because people are looking for it. So I feel like there's no need to charge more money because it's the same price as plastic stuff, and they're charging actually $2.50 an hour for it's not worth it.
Yeah, so it's more expensive than your regular plastic single-use packaging. Alright.
It's definitely a good idea. I feel like definitely more apparent, or not even apparent, but more relevant.
So are you buying it, or is it simply a marketing ploy? Only time will tell.